Oh boy, ain't that a freaking beauty. As always, it is my goal to get y'all some videos with a view, not just in a garage. So we're doing just that. It is windy as hell. Hopefully this microphone is figured out. Let's get to it. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Anyway, welcome to the channel. This is a 2021 Chevy Silverado Custom Trail Boss, and that means it didn't come from the factory with many features. One of those features being standard side steps. That's right. So this truck came from the factory, 0 side steps, and since then a lot has happened to it, most notably a 6-inch lift. So to mend that, we partnered with Boost Auto, and they sent out some powered side steps for the truck. And today we're gonna do a I don't know, 1,000-mile review of these side steps and how I like them. Although this was a partnership with Boost Auto, I did pay for them. I will give you my express opinion on them, and long story short, I think they are freaking great. So we'll get a couple things out of the way here. In the box, when you order them, you get the side step, you get the bracket. The front one is a motor, the rear one is just a bracket to attach to the truck, and you get all of the wiring and the control module to power these steps. There's a better look at the rear bracket and the front bracket with the motor. Material wise, these are made out of 6,000 grade aerospace aluminum, which according to Google makes them very strong and very corrosion resistant. Both of those are good attributes to have on the truck. I do have it locked down intentionally there. Both good attributes to have on the truck. Strength, you're stepping on them and they are underneath the truck quite literally, and corrosion resistant. As we can see, there's snow, and snow means salt on the road, so we don't want these things rusting. Install wise, I can see where this would be a plus or a minus for some people. For me, I've done a bunch of wiring install stuff. It was easy enough to do as a single person. If you have somebody to help you, that would probably make it a lot easier. Good Lord, this wind is frigid. The difficulty is in the wiring, routing it and hooking it up. I know some of the competition has just plug and play completely, so you can just plug this into the OBD2 port and you're good to go. However, on this truck, you do unfortunately have to do wire taps into the OBD2, and that is something that I'm not a fan of. One thing I want to touch on the wiring front is how these things work. So on the driver's side, if we open it up, pardon my shadow temporarily, we go to the OBD2 port. So competitors, this is the OBD2 port right here. Competitors will have a plug that goes straight into this. If you run something in it all the time like I do, you can get a splitter, but that is the super easy install. You can see that white piece of plastic there with the yellow and red wire coming off of it. That is a wire tap. So this wire tap receives a signal from the OBD2 port when the door opens and sends it to a control module that I have under the hood, and that's how these doors work. And that is all fine and dandy because it works well, but those wire taps, I don't like them personally. It would have been nicer just to have a super easy plug in there instead of having to wire tap, but is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It would just be a nice feature, but that's probably where they save some cost. Install, easy enough, took me a couple hours. If you get a friend, it'll go faster. Wiring, not a fan of wire taps. Appearance wise, I ran this truck for 3 years with no side steps on it because I simply liked how it looked. I don't like the look of drop down steps. I don't like the look of big chunky steps. A lot of the factory ones that come, it just wasn't my thing. So I was completely okay with the look of it, but once I put the 6-inch lift on it, it was a pain to get into. So look wise, I really like how these things set up. They sit pretty flush. You can, if you're standing away from the truck, you can see the brackets, but that's just attributed to my truck being taller than normal. But the look wise, they sit flush. They look really sweet when they are folded away. This is a pretty good side shot of the truck. So as mentioned, you can see the 2 brackets dip down. I wish those were flush, but is what it is. As for the rest of it, they look really good. They blend in with the truck just perfect with the gray and black color scheme we got going here. So look wise, I really dig it. Next on the category of function, they quite literally do exactly what they're supposed to. So lifted truck, it's hard as hell to get into, especially for my girlfriend because she's short. So they help me get in the truck. So we'll do a little POV here, and we'll pop her open, drop down, easy to step onto, and boom, they stay deployed while the door is open. And if you listen carefully, they retract when we step in. These types of power folding steps are typically found on higher trim model vehicles. SUVs, you know, Denali's, high countries, whatever be it. So this is a very nice addition to add to a base model truck. So it's a fancy feature. They help me get in, and if I step on them, which they're located nicely towards the front of the truck, I can finally reach the middle of the windshield, and I'm 6'2". This truck is just freaking tall. Here they are retracted, so you can see what that looks like once again. So overall, these are pretty competitive price point wise. I think Rough Country has a set that is $1,000. Amp Research was kind of first of the game as far as I was aware in add-on power steps, and those running about 2,000, and these come in around 1,300. So on par for the course. And I mean, even if you have a lifted truck or not, retracting side steps are just one of those fancy things that you can add to a vehicle that make it seem way nicer in my case than it actually is, because this is a base model truck. But retracting side steps, attention grabber, people like it. So pros and cons on these Boost Auto side steps. Pro is they look freaking sweet. Pro is they are high quality feeling. Well, you know, time will tell on the true quality, but I trust the quality on them. 3, the install was relatively easy for me. If you don't know much about wiring or trucks, you might have a little bit of a time, but install was easy enough for me. For a con, I don't know how rugged they are off-road. So if I ever bottom this truck out, which I probably will at some point, they are a very expensive part to have on the bottom of the truck, and I don't know how well they'll take a rock hitting them, but we'll find out. And a con for somebody that is not super savvy or good with wiring, install might be a little bit more difficult than just plugging in an OBD2 harness. And a final con is the potential for these things to get all bugged up with snow and ice, but they've gotten pretty caked so far and haven't had any issues. My buddy had a Cadillac that had factory steps, and they would break all the time because ice would get in there. They would fold on it, it would blow the motors up. So time will tell on that one. Could be a con, or it could be a giant pro for Boost Auto's quality of not frying their motors. So with that said, I think I've almost completely fallen down about 20 times, and I can't feel my hands, but that is my 1,000-mile review of the Boost Auto powered side steps. I think they look good. They function exactly like they're supposed to. They make it easier to get in my truck, so I'm not ripping my pants every month. Great addition to the truck. I would highly recommend checking them out, as well as their other products, which we're looking at right there, but not yet in the video. As always, if y'all like this content, it does me a giant favor to like and subscribe. It tells YouTube that I'm being a good person. It helps me out. It takes a lot of time and effort to make these videos for y'all. God, look at that. Now for the fun part. Whew, that was cold as hell. Anyway, this snow may not look too bad, but it is deceptively slippery. Last year, I actually got my truck completely stuck in snow just like this. Luckily, I'm close to the main road, but I had to leave it overnight. I didn't even try and film it because I was so angry. So if something goes wrong, let's get it on film. We are in 4 high, so we're gonna give her a rip here. Sliding all around, baby. Yeah, I was out doing the exact same thing, just not filming, just kind of screwing around last year. Ooh, boy. And completely slid off the road like the one that I'm on. I'm spinning all of my tires here. Luckily, this is a more heavily trafficked road. We're gonna be just fine. But I slid off the road. The snow had been melted and froze and then snowed on again, so it didn't look that bad. But I got so stuck. Didn't even want to film it, but it would have been some pretty prime content. Anyways, now we listen for all of the mud. Oh, Lord. Back into 2-wheel drive, and super cool. Anyways, that'll do it for this video. Thank y'all for watching.